Mike with NarcBox again for another training video. In this video, we're going to discuss how you would actually administer a drug using the NarcBox firmware. To begin, I'm going to go ahead and touch the touch screen, go to the main menu. I'm going to select Log Med Usage because I'm going to actually administer it. It wants to know who this is, so I'm going to put in my PIN, 41611, so that I'll show up as being the medic or the administrator of this particular drug. So a couple of choices here on this next screen. If I had more than 3 drugs in the box, these would be blue and I'd select them up and down. It would let me scroll through the list of drugs that would be here. It only populates 4 at a time, so I might need, if you have 6 or 7 different medications in here, you'd have to scroll up and scroll down. At any point in time, remember we've always got the purple question mark. We select that. It's going to tell us what each of the buttons does, what things mean. In this case, there's 3 screens worth, so you could always read that if you didn't know. We've got run number. This is the unique patient identifier that is required on the DEA form. So if you're in an EMS application, frequently the people use the EPCR number. Some people are using a dispatch number. If not, you're going to use an electronic patient record number usually. This is to open and close the door. So you know, notice here the door is locked. It's got the red lock on it. If I push the door button, it's going to let me open the door, and this will be green. So we'll touch door. I'm now actually going to get the drug out that I was going to administer. You know, it thinks that the door is open currently. If I close it, it's not actually going to lock until the end of the process, so I could open and close it a couple of times. You'll notice here that the fentanyl is actually measured in micrograms, whereas the midazolam is measured in milligrams. You'll also know that there's something over here called units, and I'll show you on the next screen why those are both important. So when I go to administer fentanyl, I just go ahead and touch that. Now it's going to bring up a fentanyl-specific screen. It says administered, wasted, and package quantity. This is because the NarcBox is actually tracking the number of milligrams that were given to the patient. In this case, it's micrograms of fentanyl. And it's also going to track the number of packages. So if you're using a vial or a CarpiJet, this would be frequently 1 package, maybe even a partial. We don't do partial packages in this particular way. It could be also a tablet or some other unit of measure. And the reason that we track that is you might give more than 1. During a long transport, you might be giving more than 1 vial of a particular drug. You might give more than 1 tablet at a particular time to the same patient, just depending on the dosages that are there. So we're going to select a quantity. We're going to give 25 mics of fentanyl. At this point in time, we're not going to waste any. We could waste it right there, but frequently we'll do the administration while we're on scene, and then we'll waste either at the hospital or back at the station when we return. So you may not be wasting at the same time you're administering. So I'm actually going to do a separate video on waste. But just know that if you put waste in here, you can do the whole thing in 1 transaction, or you can do it in 2 separate transactions, so to speak. So now that I have this correct, I'm going to click done. If I wanted to change the package quantity because maybe they're in, 5 mic increments, so I was going to use 5, I just touch package quantity, I'd delete the 1 and I'd put 5, and then you'll see that we go to, it would be deducting 5 units from the inventory. So if the inventory was 6, I administer 5, it's going to be expecting 1 after that. This is so that we keep everything accurate during the next shift change. So I'm going to go ahead and change that back to 1, just since we know that that's only 1 quantity has actually been open. So I click done. And it's going to ask me if I'm, goes back to this summary screen. I can give more than 1 drug. I could select morphine and add some of that. We're just going to give 1 in this instance. I'm going to click done. I guess let's add a run number first. So I'm going to add a run number here. You'll notice that this is a numeric keypad. If I click ABC, it goes to the ABC one. We do uppercase, lowercase. If I click the lowercase ABC, it goes to lowercase. If I click symbols, it's got special characters. So I'm just going to add some numbers here. We'll just put in a hashtag 8IIG, and then we'll go ahead and click done. So now that's specified as the run number up there. Now when we move on to the next screen, this is kind of a summary type screen. So it's going to tell me run number hashtag 8IIG. The only drugs that show up, it looks like we've used 25 mics of fentanyl. That's only 1 unit, and we've wasted none. I'm going to click done, and it's going to say save report. The answer is yes. That means we've now done this completely. Report's been saved. Finally, the door locks, and we go back to the home screen, meaning that we're completely finished with that transaction. Thanks a bunch.